The Galactic Council gathered on the immense star station that hovered in the void, a testament to their power and dominance over the galaxy. Council members, each representing a species from the furthest reaches of known space, sat in a circle of shadows and light. Their voices filled the room with disdain as they spoke of a new, pressing matter, a species that had managed to unsettle even their calmest members. This human problem had begun to draw attention, disrupting the Council's carefully maintained order. "Humans are pests, hardly more than insects," scoffed a counselor with multiple, glittering eyes. "Yet they multiply, build, adapt. It's unnatural how quickly they have grown." Another counselor, known for his species' precision and strategic thinking, leaned forward, frowning. "They are tenacious. Unlike any species we've encountered, they are resilient even when every odd is against them. They've survived every hostile environment, every internal conflict. And now, their technology is advancing faster than we ever anticipated." The conversation turned colder. For centuries, the Council had ruled unchallenged, a coalition of the most powerful beings who'd subdued countless civilizations. They saw themselves as protectors of order, but beneath that veneer was the firm belief that they alone should wield power. Any species rising too quickly was a threat, and Earth's growing presence unsettled them. "Subjugate them now, while they are still manageable," hissed the counselor with scales like shifting mercury. "If we wait, they'll only grow bolder. We've seen it happen with others. Look what they did with the soul expansion. They colonized planets that were hostile even to us." Nods and murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. The humans had made strides, far more than anticipated, and their stubborn, almost reckless courage was unsettling. Worse, rumors circulated that the humans held values even alien races found alluring: a fierce loyalty to one another, an unbreakable spirit, an inability to adapt to anything thrown their way. Their stories, filled with impossible victories and miraculous survival tales, spread like wildfire among those oppressed by the Council's reign. This allure threatened to undermine the Council's authority, sparking whispers of defiance. Another voice spoke, calm but with a hint of disdain. "We've already taken some of their soldiers, picked off during their skirmishes on outlying planets. It took time, but they're in our custody. They refuse to cooperate, of course, but it won't matter soon." Those interrogations were not for the faint-hearted. The Council called it information extraction, yet everyone in the room knew what it entailed. They tortured the humans, subjecting them to every manner of cruelty to extract Earth's secrets, hoping to reveal what lay behind humanity's meteoric rise. A few counselors were skeptical. Some thought it was a mistake to draw human blood in this way, fearing it would only incite their rage. But most were dismissive. One counselor waved his claws dismissively. "Let them rage. Let them shake their fists at the sky. They are insignificant. Their resistance is meaningless in the face of the Council's might. We control the laws of the galaxy, its resources, its people. Humanity will learn its place." Yet, in the dark corners of their minds, doubts lingered. They had watched humanity achieve the impossible, again and again. A subtle tension crept into their conversation, a hesitation beneath their bravado. They recognized, even if they wouldn't admit it, that humans had always risen to the occasion, no matter how desperate. And now, they had crossed the line, spilling human blood and prodding a creature that had not yet revealed its true strength. An uneasy silence fell over the room as one of the oldest counselors spoke up. "We are not dealing with simple creatures. They do not yield, they do not break. They find a way to survive, even thrive, against impossible odds. It would be wise not to underestimate them." A murmur of dissent, quickly stifled, echoed across the chamber. Still, the counselor's words planted a seed of caution. They dismissed their doubts with laughter and sharp-tongued retorts, but even the most arrogant among them felt a chill at the thought. They had taken human soldiers, tortured them, violated the unspoken codes of engagement. If the humans knew, if Earth understood what had happened, would they retaliate? Reports of missing soldiers reached Earth's highest authorities, scattered at first, then streaming in a relentless wave. Commanders across Earth's scattered colonies shared tales of strange disappearances, particularly in areas close to Council-controlled sectors. It started as rumor, dismissed as isolated incidents, until the messages became impossible to ignore. An investigation ensued, coordinated by Earth's governing body, the United Earth Federation. They'd endured years of tenuous peace with the Council, wary of provoking the powerful alliance but aware of the Council's oppressive methods. Now, the Federation held irrefutable proof that their soldiers hadn't simply vanished, they had been taken. The cold fury rippled through Earth's leadership as they reviewed intercepted transmissions detailing the fate of those captured. Council members spoke openly about extraction techniques used on human prisoners, euphemisms that barely disguised the reality of torture. Evidence of brutality beyond comprehension flooded in, sparking outrage and disgust. The United Earth Federation officials stood in silence, absorbing the weight of the Council's cruelty. They understood what this meant. Earth's people had been violated, treated as expendable pawns. The response was swift and clear. Humanity's leaders gathered in the heart of Earth's command center, an enormous, bunker-like fortress beneath the planet's surface. There, beneath layers of reinforced steel and encrypted networks, a decision was made. No more waiting. No more silent tolerance of these atrocities. Earth would not cower in the shadows. Instead, it would make its voice heard across the galaxy. In a unanimous decision, the Federation crafted a message that would resonate through every corner of known space. A team of Earth's brightest minds encrypted the transmission, ensuring it would break through every communication blockade and reach every inhabited planet, moon, and station within the Council's domain. Finally, with solemn determination, they sent out their broadcast. The message was short, stark, and undeniable. "We know what you did. This is your warning, run." A mere 12 words, yet they carried a weight no counselor could ignore. The warning echoed across star systems, reaching the counselors, their allies, and their subjugates. A human voice, calm, unyielding, with the edge of righteous fury, now rang through the Council's carefully controlled universe, shaking the very foundation of their dominion. The Council's immediate reaction was one of outrage and disbelief. For centuries, no one had dared to challenge them, let alone openly defy their authority. Laughter and derision filled their meeting chambers. Councilors called it an empty threat, an amusing outburst from a lesser species. They saw Earth as a young, brash civilization, too naive to understand its own insignificance. A few counselors even mocked humanity's audacity, speaking as though humans were no more than stubborn children throwing tantrums. Yet not everyone was so quick to dismiss the message. A handful of counselors, those with more experience in the darker histories of interstellar conflict, sensed an underlying threat that others missed. They had seen the effects of desperation before, had witnessed lesser civilizations rise in impossible moments. Some counselors voiced quiet concern, urging caution, but their warnings were drowned out by louder voices. One counselor, known for his cautious nature and respect for other cultures' tenacity, spoke up, suggesting that perhaps the humans were more capable than they seemed. His warning was met with scoffs and laughter. But he could not shake the sense that Earth's message was not a bluff. It was a promise, one rooted in something deeper, something dangerous. In the Council's eyes, Earth was a small planet on the outskirts of the galaxy, an insignificant world with limited resources and no allies. But this counselor, in the privacy of his own thoughts, wondered if they had severely underestimated the lengths humanity would go to defend its own. The message spread like wildfire, whispered and speculated upon by other races under the Council's thumb. For the first time, they saw a species stand up to their oppressors, a voice of defiance echoing in a galaxy where fear of the Council had long silenced dissent. Some watched with awe, some with skepticism, but all with a new glimmer of hope. Earth's words resonated not just as a threat but as a rallying cry, an emblem of courage in a universe that had forgotten what courage looked like. In the silent expanse of space, undetectable by Council sensors, humanity's advanced stealth drones drifted, encircling key installations, monitoring Council movements, and mapping every vulnerability. Small, silent, and nearly invisible to any known detection technology, these drones were the product of Earth's finest minds, engineers and scientists who had worked in secrecy, designing technology specifically to counter the Council's defenses. With each pass, they gathered precise data, revealing weaknesses in Council infrastructure that had gone unnoticed for centuries. The information streamed back to Earth, where teams analyzed it in real time, dissecting the Council's intricate systems. Human scientists and engineers, armed with an intimate knowledge of both their own technology and the Council's limitations, began developing countermeasures. They worked tirelessly, creating devices that could disable advanced shielding, penetrate encrypted communications, and neutralize Council weaponry. Earth's technological progress had been underestimated by the Council, and now it was humanity's greatest advantage. As plans took shape, the first strikes were calculated and methodical. A series of Council ships vanished, disappearing without trace from their established patrol routes. These incidents were subtle at first, the Council's initial response dismissive, chalking it up to navigation errors or technical malfunctions. But the disappearances increased, each one leaving no debris, no distress signal, no explanation. Council leaders began to realize that these were no accidents. Next came a surge of power failures across Council-controlled space stations. Outposts and planetary defense systems flickered, plunged into darkness with no warning, their backups rendered useless. Earth's technology exploited gaps in the Council's energy grid, slipping past defenses and triggering chain reactions that left critical installations vulnerable. Crews on these stations scrambled for answers as the disruptions spread, cascading from one outpost to another. Each station affected received the same ominous message on their screens, in human script, *, we are watching. We know, *. By now, whispers of fear spread through Council ranks. Communications channels buzzed with confusion and anxiety, punctuated by mysterious signals that broke into Council networks without effort. Each message was short, taunting, and deeply unsettling. Earth's knowledge was deeper than the Council could fathom, and they sensed it now in every silent outpost, every darkened ship corridor. Humanity's reach was far greater than they had assumed, their capabilities stretching far beyond Council expectations. For the first time, the Council found itself cornered, uncertain, exposed. Then, on planets once deemed secure, Council officials began to disappear, just like the ships. High-ranking members, the architects of humanity's torture and suppression, vanished without a trace. Panic erupted as these disappearances became known, whispered about in corridors and on encrypted channels. Earth had made good on its threat. They had warned the Council to run, and now they hunted those responsible with a ruthless precision that left no room for mercy. Across the galaxy, alien races who had lived under the Council's iron grip took notice. They watched as the Council faltered, shaken by an enemy they had belittled, and some of them began to question the very authority of the Council itself. For centuries, the Council had ruled unchallenged, but now, Earth's calculated strikes revealed them as vulnerable, not infallible. Those once fearful of rebelling started to wonder if perhaps they, too, could stand against their oppressors. The Council's reaction was a mixture of fury and desperation. They ordered defenses reinforced, patrols doubled, and their finest strategists consulted. But none of it could stop the invisible enemy that haunted their every move. No technology they deployed could detect humanity's drones, no code they crafted could block Earth's messages. With each failure, the Council's power eroded further, their image of superiority cracking under the weight of Earth's silent, unyielding assault. Word spread rapidly among the lesser races, whispers that Earth was not just surviving, but fighting back with a skill and strength that defied reason. Humanity's warning had not been a bluff, it was a promise backed by action. The balance of powers shifted, and the Council, for the first time, faced the reality of an adversary who would not submit, would not break. The Council met again, this time with an urgency that bordered on panic. Their once confident assembly now carried an edge of fear, their conversations frantic and desperate. For the first time in their history, they faced a threat that had shaken the very foundation of their authority. The human attacks had been relentless and surgical, each one a reminder that their power was not as unassailable as they had believed. The chamber buzzed with arguments and accusations. Some counselors, those who had previously mocked Earth's defiance, now spoke with a tinge of fear, proposing appeasement. They argued that humanity's strength had been grossly underestimated, that perhaps an offer of peace could stem the tide of Earth's attacks before it spiraled out of control. They cited Earth's technological prowess and relentless resolve as reasons for caution, urging the Council to consider diplomacy as a way to avoid further losses. But others balked at the suggestion. They were still too proud to even consider negotiating with a lesser species. They argued that the Council's rule was absolute, and that anything less than total domination would be seen as weakness. They pushed for an overwhelming display of force, a final strike against Earth that would crush humanity's resistance once and for all. The room erupted into heated debates, alliances fracturing as councilors tried to balance their fear of Earth with their commitment to maintaining control. In the midst of their turmoil, a new message cut through their encrypted channels, clear and unmistakable. Earth had intercepted their conversations, and their reply was short, the words sharp as a blade, asterisk. Last chance, stop, or face the consequences. Asterisk. Silence fell over the council chamber. The message was a direct challenge, one that left no room for interpretation. Humanity had given them an ultimatum, and it was clear that Earth was prepared to act on it. The council, however, still clung to remnants of their pride. They believed they could overwhelm Earth, that their combined forces were strong enough to quell the uprising of this single planet. In an attempt to reclaim their authority, they assembled one of the largest fleets in their history, an armada meant to be an unmistakable show of force. Ships bristling with weapons, defensive shields, and seasoned commanders lined up in formation, each one ready to descend on Earth and end the threat once and for all. As they approached Earth's orbit, the Council commanders felt certain they were about to end this rebellious uprising in a swift, decisive strike. But humanity was ready. As the fleet moved into range, hidden space mines detonated, sending devastating blasts through their formation. Ships buckled, their shields unable to withstand the sudden, calculated explosions. Others encountered electromagnetic pulses strategically placed along their path, knocking out critical systems and leaving massive vessels adrift and vulnerable. Earth had mapped the fleet's trajectory in advance, setting a series of traps that crippled the Council's forces before they could even reach the planet. The commanders on board tried to regroup, scrambling to restore order, but Earth's defenses proved relentless. Humanity's technology was far beyond what the Council had imagined. Every strike was precise, every counterattack devastating. The Council's fleet, once a symbol of their unmatched power, was left in disarray, scattered and broken, its most advanced ships now reduced to debris. The Council's remaining forces sent frantic messages back to headquarters, begging for orders, seeking guidance. In the Council chamber, those watching from afar saw their mighty fleet unraveling before their eyes. Panic gripped the assembly. Earth's defenses had shown them what they had refused to believe, that humanity was not just defiant but capable, with technology that rivaled and even surpassed their own. As the Council members stared at the remnants of their fleet, the debate shifted from strategies of dominance to decisions of survival. Some now argued openly for surrender, recognizing the futility of further aggression. They saw no viable path forward without risking total collapse. But others resisted, struggling to hold on to the belief that the Council could not back down without losing everything. The division grew deeper, each side torn between fear and pride. Some urged retreat, while others insisted they would rather fall than submit. Their authority, once unquestionable, now hung in the balance, with Earth's warning echoing in their minds, asterisk. Last chance, stop, or face the consequences. Asterisk. For the first time, the Council's hold on the galaxy seemed fragile, its members faced with the choice to flee or face a final confrontation with a species that had proven itself far more formidable than they had ever imagined. Earth's final response began with silent precision, a coordinated series of strikes that targeted the Council's core systems and command ships. In the dead of space, Earth's forces unleashed the full extent of their capabilities, an armada equipped with technology that the Council had neither expected nor could counter. The humans moved with surgical accuracy, their attacks focused and devastating, each one exploiting a weakness meticulously uncovered through months of covert surveillance. At the heart of Earth's offensive lay a new weapon, a device that emitted an electromagnetic pulse capable of bypassing the Council's most advanced shielding. As the pulse washed over their ships and stations, the Council's defenses collapsed, rendering their once impenetrable ships vulnerable. In moments, entire command centers went dark, consoles flickered and died, and the hum of energy that powered their immense fleet fell silent. Crews on board panicked, scrambling to restart systems and reignite shields, but Earth's technology had struck with devastating precision. They were defenseless. In the Council's main base, the atmosphere was one of chaos. High-ranking counselors, once arrogant and dismissive, were now gripped by a palpable fear as they watched their empire unravel before them. Alarms blared, emergency lights cast eerie shadows, and the bridge was filled with desperate voices, commanders shouting orders, technicians frantically working at disabled consoles, and counselors grappling with the gravity of what was happening. For the first time, they understood the full weight of Earth's words, Last chance, stop, or face the consequences. Those consequences now surrounded them. Some counselors attempted to flee, abandoning their stations in hopes of escaping the disaster. Shuttles launched from the base in panicked waves, but Earth's forces anticipated their every move. Each escape route, each emergency exit, was met with another strike, cutting off any chance of retreat. The once mighty counselors, who had once laughed at the notion of human defiance, were now trapped, watching as their empire crumbled. In those final moments, some members of the Council came to terms with the reality of Earth's power. They saw the inevitability of their defeat in the methodical precision of Earth's attacks, and they realized that humanity's warning had not been a boast or an idle threat. It had been a promise, one backed by the resilience and unyielding strength of a species that would not be broken. Humanity had withstood centuries of Council dominance, suffering and enduring to become something that could no longer be dismissed. In the aftermath, Earth broadcasted a final message across the galaxy, a transmission that reached every corner of Council-controlled space and beyond. In a calm, resolute voice, they declared that peace was now Earth's goal, but that aggression and oppression against humanity or any free world would not be tolerated. Earth's message was clear, and for those listening, it was a moment that marked the beginning of a new era. The Council, shattered and leaderless, was no longer the galactic authority it had once been. Many of its members surrendered, their pride abandoned as they sought any semblance of safety. Others fled into obscurity, remnants of a fallen power unable to regain their former dominance. The galaxy watched in astonishment as the once invincible Council fractured, their power shattered by the very species they had sought to subjugate. And Earth, now recognized across the stars as a force to be respected, became a symbol of resilience and strength. Humanity's triumph over the Council echoed as a powerful testament to what could be achieved in the face of oppression. The galaxy, once ruled through fear, now witnessed a new chapter, one where Earth stood not as a conquered world but as a defender of its own destiny, a force that had reshaped the balance of power. Humanity had won its place among the stars.